So, for those of you just joining us, I'm very excited to be here with my cohort in crime on raising visibility online, Marietta Crawford, and we're talking about how what people can do, why they have issues with personal brand, but let's kind of dive in. And what are some? I'm sure you have your, I don't know, 2, 3, or 5. What are some basic things people can either do or look at, think about, or answer if they're, let's say, kind of going on this journey, either for creating this personal brand or maybe refreshing it or redesigning it?
Yeah, I love that question. I always go back to my 4 C's to brand clarity. And it's something that, I apply whether I'm working on someone's bio, whether I'm working on someone's LinkedIn profile. But it's really these 4 C's. At any time, you can always just look at and say, is there an alignment? Is there something that is my strength or my weakness? So the first one I say is to be clear, right? To be really clear about, again, the basics of who you are, what you do, and who you help. And yes, there are definitely, it's not to say that you have to put yourself in a box and say, well, I only work with holistic, business owners. I only work with, whatever that niche may be. But it's really making it clear so that when someone is looking for, let's say for you, someone is an author, like, who's the top person I want to work with? Nancy, of course, Marietta for LinkedIn, whatever that case may be. So being clear so that not only are you're clear for yourself, but for other people who will keep you top of mind. And then the second C is being credible. And as we both know, credibility is so important. And even when I think about LinkedIn, there are so many people who don't show up as good as they really are. And any opportunity that you have to, support that you're an expert, validate that you're an expert, whether it's through features, whether it's through your client testimonials, you want to have that credibility that's going to allow you to, have people really take note of what you're saying and not just brush you off as like, oh, well, this person, what do they know? They're just another coach or whatever the case may be, right? And then the third one is consistent. And I like this, when I think of consistent, I think about just to what we were talking about before. No matter where someone finds you, there is a consistent feel, right? They're not finding you on Instagram and you're just seem completely like another person. And
different pictures, different website links.
Right.
Oh,
you're not even like, I wonder if it's the same person, right? Yep. So being consistent, and I focus on that because sometimes people, we're more is better thing, and I don't necessarily feel like you have to be every single where and posting, 5 times a day, but just being consistent when you show up as that same person. And then clear, consistent, credible. And the last one is carefree. And it goes to, just what we're saying, where it's like, personal branding, you think, oh, goodness, it just feels so icky because I have to be this person. I can't show that I like remote planes. I shouldn't be carefree about the fact that I like cookies and cupcakes or whatever it is. And it's really about, as woo as it may sound, being cool with who you are, even the quirks, because that's going to attract your people.
I'm a fan of the woo. So I love that. And as my friends who know me, I'm a big fan of the woohoo as well. But I love that. And I think very similar. And I think on the clear, it sounds easy. And it's not always the easiest part. So I even break down your clear is like who, and you said this, I just want to reiterate it because these are like the people, like who you are, who are you? Who are you serving and talking to? Right. And what do you want them to do, learn, or know? Like, what action do you want? Like, to me, those are 3 key parts in clear that people just are like, I'm clear, I know what I'm doing. And they skip to your other ones, right? And I'm like, if you didn't nail what's in that clear part, you've lost your foundation to build the other parts, right?
Yes. And to your point too, like when you first introduced the question, I loved how you introduced it because it's not like a one-time thing. We are always evolving, right? So this is something where as you start to change and your interest starts to change, to always look at that and make sure that your message is keeping up with that as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think when you said consistency, my brain went a slightly different way with consistency, and that is what we just talked about, like consistently being present and engaging on whatever platforms you've chosen to be on. So after you've gotten a consistent kind of look and feel wherever you are online, that you consistently show up and you don't take that set it and forget it. Like, I don't need to come to LinkedIn because I'm not looking for a job, right? Like, or, okay, I posted on Instagram, once this week and, I'm done. I don't need to do that. So I think those two different components of consistency are really important. But I think I love that you've put the alliteration there and made it really easy for just sort of like these key elements. And I think if people can think of it that way, it also becomes a little less, overwhelming.
Overwhelming. And even to your point about the set it, forget it, some business owners may think, well, most of my followers are on Instagram, so I don't really need to touch LinkedIn. But you still need to have that. I mean, even if you have, you're doing a challenge or you have a program that you're promoting and you're doing it everywhere, why not have that opportunity to have it a part of your profile or have it, I don't recommend just hopping on, LinkedIn and saying, hey, check out my challenge when you haven't been on. That's like the same thing with doing that in email. You can buy it and it's like, hey, buy my stuff. That's not necessarily going to work. But nurturing your LinkedIn, even if it's not your main platform, is it's always a benefit, especially when you think about visibility and opportunities that it'll attract.
100%.